Welcome back to Lush Life, No Labels. I'm Michelle. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. The story of the week this week is, as you may have heard, the CEO of United Healthcare Group was shot outside of a meeting he was heading to. But get this man was shot an hour before the meeting started and the meeting still commenced, which to me is, I'm not, honestly, unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this happened. The meeting was an investor meeting, and they literally stepped over his body so that they could talk about the millions in bonuses they're going to get this year. I'm not here to talk about the US healthcare system, rather on jobs and our values as people in relation to those jobs. I've had a lot of jobs initially I thought had potential and where I gained a lot of good skill, but ultimately I realized that I was just another number and they didn't really see me as an individual person. And when I say they here, I'm referring to the administration, the people who are actually running the company, not my coworkers. When I first entered the workforce, my perception was that having a certain type of job made me a valuable person. I thought if I followed the rules, went above and beyond, and showed that I cared about my job, then I would be rewarded or they would see me as someone to keep around because obviously I care about the role that I'm in. However, I saw over time that I was not valued as much as I thought I was. And my work, I mean, the work that I did that provided an output that led to a profit, that's what was valued. But me, no, I was just someone else who was there. My first job out of college, I was overworked, underpaid, and ultimately ended up being disrespected. I remember talking to friends about this and they knew what I was going through, but I thought at the time that I should stick it out. Maybe it was me, maybe I just didn't understand. But this got worse over time. And it's funny, one time I actually worked at a job where they said, quote, we were family, which to me was supposed to be a good thing. But no, it basically just meant that they could overwork me and do whatever they wanted while I just had to sit there and take it. And like I said, I've had great coworkers, but ultimately I had some really toxic bosses. And I left when it finally clicked for me that these people didn't care about me as much as I cared about that job. It was disappointing because when I was mistreated at work, I took it hard. Initially, I thought it was because I'd done something wrong or I was a bad employee, even though deep down I knew I was putting in so many more hours than I probably should have been. And I knew I was a good worker, but I did take it personally. And also, I felt like I'm in a job that is supposed to be a great job and because it ultimately wasn't a great job for me, I internalized that and felt like I was partially to blame. And this had pretty negative effects on my mental health and my physical health. Over the years of being in some of these situations, I realized that having the job I have is just that, a job. It's not my life. In fact, I should have an actual life outside of the workplace. I used to have a horrible work life, actually, a non existent work life balance in some of my previous jobs. And again, I thought that putting in the time after work, working all hours of the night, working on weekends, canceling plans with friends, I thought that showed this company that I cared. And I thought that that's what provided value. I started changing my mindset. I stopped expecting the bosses and CEOs to see me beyond just a number. I've been at jobs where people have gotten fired after they've been there for decades just to have their position posted the next day. Seeing those examples were so clear because if someone who was in positions higher than me could be treated this way, then why would they care about me? Let's be real, right? Unless your parent or family member owns the company, you are replaceable no matter the position that you work in, no matter how long you've worked there. Hell, even if you're the CEO, these shareholders will replace you because they want their profit. That's what they care about. I decided if they're going to care about themselves, then I'm going to care about myself. I was caring more about this job than I was for my own self and for my own personal life. I know I have more to offer and more things that I can do to fulfill my life outside of that job. So, one thing that I actually told myself again is that I'm going to clock in, do my work, and clock out. I try not to think about work when I'm not there. When I'm on vacation, I don't check in. And of course, I do my work well. I'm not here just slacking off, but I'm not going to be doing more than I'm paid for. I'm not going to go out of my way for a job because they're not going to do that for me. I'm not going to be volunteering for extra work unless I get paid more or promoted. And this example of what happened to the CEO, it's an unfortunate situation. But again, the fact that these people continued to have that meeting instead of canceling it, pushing it back, sending an email out to the company, that just shows you that, again, it doesn't matter if you're the CEO. They are going to continue to think about the money. So take this as an example that even being the CEO of a company doesn't make you special. Your job does not determine your value. You determine your value. So don't let these people play you and don't let them feel like you're nothing without them. Trust me, I've been in that position before and it sucked. And I never want to go back there. And I'm glad that I'm in a position now where I'm much more clear-headed about how I am versus how my relationship to my job is because I'm detached and I love it. It's not to say again that I don't care about what I do or I don't care about my job, but I'm much more detached. Your company is not the end all be all. I'm glad that I'm in this position because I've really seen that I've improved in my mindset. Sometimes it really just takes a mindset shift. We have to work because we need to pay our bills, but that doesn't mean that we need to sell ourselves to these companies. This isn't to say that there aren't fulfilling things at a workplace. It's just important that we all keep in mind our lives go beyond just the work that we do. So, with that, I'll end the podcast here for today. I do want to leave you with a few questions to think about. The first is, do you view your job as a way to measure your value as a person? Think about what that means and how that makes you feel. Lastly, what are some steps that you can take to maximize your life and fulfillment outside of your job? Thanks again for listening to Lush Life No Labels. I'm Michelle, and I'll see you next time.